Regret doesn't come from leaving. Regret comes from staying where you've already outgrown. Dumelang, sanbonani, abosheni, hello, annyeong haseyo, beloved. Welcome to the Right Space with Teacher Neo. Ke nna Neo Letswalo, a qualified teacher from South Africa, currently living and teaching English as a second language in South Korea. If you are new here, welcome to the family. You are exactly where you're meant to be. This is a safe space, a creative space, a thinking and writing space. We share animated stories based on real-life situations, teaching and living abroad videos, vlogs, and a special edition of the Teachers Podcast, where we meet virtually with teachers around the world and they share their teaching stories and experiences with us. Our videos are for all curious minds and are child-friendly. So make sure to watch till the end, like the video, and subscribe to never miss an adventure. And to our loyal supporters, thank you for the love and support. We truly appreciate having you here with us. Please remember to like, share the video, and leave a comment. As people, we often judge ourselves when the very things we once prayed for no longer serve us. You prayed for it. You cried for it. You waited for it. And now you're sitting there thinking, why doesn't this feel the same anymore? And instead of being honest with ourselves, we feel guilty. We feel bad when we outgrow certain situations. We feel uncomfortable when we outgrow people. We feel strange when we outgrow titles we once worked so hard for. We start asking ourselves, am I ungrateful? No, my dear. You are just growing. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that if something once helped you, you must stay there forever, as if growth needs permission. But change, my dear, is inevitable. Growth is necessary, and it's okay to want to move. It's okay to want more. You can be grateful and still feel unfulfilled. Both of those things can exist at the same time. What used to be the best thing in your life can be very normal, very, very mediocre. And that doesn't mean it failed. It simply means it did its job. Let's be grateful. Yes, be grateful, but let's not feel guilty for wanting more. Wanting more doesn't make you greedy. It makes you human. Because as human beings, you never want more by accident. You don't desire better because you are confused. You simply want it because you are meant to have it. The future version of you already has it, and that's why the desire keeps visiting you. That's why your spirit keeps whispering, there's more out there. Go out there. You can do better. You can do more. And some people will say you want it all. And maybe that's true. But the truth is you can have it all, just not at the same time. Different seasons carry different blessings. You can't pack summer and winter in the same suitcase, unless if you're traveling around the world, of course. But let's be honest, even the most peaceful places can start to feel limiting. Even the safest people can start to feel too small. So ask yourself, what is comfort with no ambition? I will ask again, what is comfort with no ambition? It's like a soft couch that slowly turns into a trap. It's peace that feels good but starts asking nothing from you. Comfort without ambition is when your days begin to repeat themselves. Same routine, same thoughts, same postponed dreams. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. You wake up tired, not because you're doing too much, but because you are not growing. The scary part is comfort doesn't announce when it becomes limitation. It doesn't warn you. It just settles in quietly. And that's why people stay longer than they should. Sometimes we don't stay because we love it. We stay because it's predictable. Because starting again feels scary. Because explaining yourself feels exhausting. So you say, let me just stay a little longer. And a little longer turns into years. And let me be clear, okay, before anyone misunderstands me. I have the best school, the best students, the best colleagues. I am safe, I am supported, I am respected. But lately, every day feels like the same day. Same schedule, same lessons, same version of me showing up. And there's nothing wrong with that until your heart is no longer fully in it. And I know that some people will say, but it's safe. Why leave something good? But what good does it serve the kids to have a teacher who is no longer motivated? Children feel energy. Believe me, they know when someone is just surviving instead of leaving. And this isn't just about teaching. Let's take it to real life situations. What good does it serve your children to stay in an unhappy relationship? To grow up watching love become duty instead of joy? Is that it? What lesson are we passing down when we stay where we are no longer alive? What good does it serve the customers when the title feels too small? When the role no longer stretches you, when you just show up, you just do your job, but the spark is gone. People can feel that. People can feel the energy. And sometimes we stay because things look good on paper, like good salary, good benefits, good reputation, but your spirit doesn't live on paper. It lives on purpose. Wanting more doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you aware. It means you can say, this season taught me something, but it is not my final destination. And that takes a lot of courage. We need to stop confusing safety with fulfillment. Safety keeps you comfortable. Fulfillment keeps you alive. And yes, choosing growth is uncomfortable. It'll cost you certainty. It may cost you people. It'll cost you a lot of sleep. But staying too long costs you yourself. A lot of people will tell you, just be patient, just be grateful. Others would love to be where you are. You need to appreciate. But no one else lives your life. Only you feel that quiet restlessness. Only you know when something no longer fits. Outgrowing something doesn't mean it failed. It means it worked. It has served its purpose. It gave you what you needed, and now you are ready for more. Even good things have expiry dates. I know a saying that says, good things don't last forever. But all I can say is even beautiful seasons end. And when they do, you don't stay there and rot. You move and bloom. So if your days feel repetitive and your passion feels quieter, if you feel like you've outgrown places and you just keep imagining a different version of your life, that's not discontent, that's growth calling. And you can ignore the voice, you can ignore, the growth, but it won't make it to disappear. It will only get louder, because not even the sky is the limit. The only real limit is deciding to stop wanting more. And if this message feels personal, if it feels like it's speaking directly to you, it's because you are already changing, and that's okay. That's something to be proud of. Sometimes growth starts with discomfort, with confusion, with you staring at the ceiling at night, asking yourself questions you never asked before. Questions like, is this really it? Is this how my life is supposed to feel? Why do I feel restless when everything is technically okay? And that's the tricky part when things are okay. When things are not bad enough to leave, not exciting enough to stay also. You're not miserable, but you are not inspired. You're just existing, and existing can be exhausting, because when your life stops stretching you, your mind starts wandering. You start imagining other versions of yourself. You see people doing things that light them up, and you think, maybe that could be me, or I miss that version of me, and then you immediately feel guilty, because how dare you want more when others are struggling? But comparison has never been a life plan. Someone else's pain does not cancel out your potential. We need to stop treating growth like it's disrespectful. You can acknowledge your privilege and still pursue expansion. You can say that, I'm thankful, and also say, and I want more. Those sentences are not enemies. Let's normalize boredom as information, because boredom is not laziness. Boredom is not failure. Boredom is your soul saying, we've mastered this level. And listen, every level has a ceiling. Let's think about games. When you've mastered level 1 of the game or level 2 of the game, of course you want to reach level 5, right? Because at first the ceiling feels high. Then one day you start hitting your head. And instead of raising the roof, we blame ourselves. We say, maybe I should just be content. Maybe I'm asking for too much. But what if you're not asking for too much? What if you are asking the wrong place to hold you? Okay. Let's go back to everyday examples. The job that you once loved. At first, you were learning, growing, asking questions, and now you're the one training everyone else. You could do the work with your eyes closed. And while that sounds impressive, it's also a warning sign, because your growth needs challenge. Or that relationship, it started with laughter, curiosity, effort. Now the conversations are predictable. It's how are you? How was your day? No curiosity, no excitement, just routine. And routine without intention becomes resentment. Even friendships, you don't argue, you don't fight. Which is good, by the way, and healthy, but you also don't talk about dreams anymore, just gossip, updates, how's work, did you eat? And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but nothing is growing either. We need to stop waiting for things to become unbearable before we leave. Sometimes the reason you feel stuck is because you're waiting for permission to want more, permission to start again, permission to disappoint people. But growth rarely comes with applause. Sometimes it comes with silence, with raised eyebrows, with people saying you've changed. And again, yes, that's the point. The version of you that stays the same forever is not loyalty. That is fear. And fear is very convincing. Fear will say to you, what if it doesn't work? What if you regret it? What if you fail? But fear never asks, what if you succeed? What if you become happier? And what if you finally feel alive again? Fear is loud, but it's not wise. And growth, on the other hand, growth is quiet. It whispers, it nudges, it waits for you to listen. And if you don't listen, it doesn't disappear. It will always come back, and sometimes it will show up as frustration, as burnout, as daydreaming during conversations, as scrolling through other people's lives and wondering why yours feels paused. And that's not jealousy, that's longing for direction. You don't feel drawn to more because you're broken. You feel drawn to more because there's more in you. And here's something we don't say enough. You are allowed to outgrow versions of yourself. You don't owe consistency to anyone at the expense of your joy. The person you were 5 years ago needed different things, and the person you are now deserves new dreams. So if you are in a season where you're questioning everything and you feel like your life is asking you to make space, breathe. You're not behind. You're not lost. You are transitioning. And transitions are uncomfortable because they don't come with clear instructions, but they always lead somewhere. So take your time. Reflect. Be honest with yourself. Don't rush change, but don't ignore it. Because the moment you stop wanting more, that's the moment you stop growing. And you, beloved, you were never meant to live a small, quiet, unchallenged life. You were meant to expand. As we step into the new year, let's clear something up. A new year is not a personality transplant. It's not a countdown to become someone unrecognizable. It's not pressure to reinvent your entire life in 12 months. The new year is simply a mirror. It shows you what you've been tolerating, what you've been postponing, and what you've been whispering to yourself but not acting on yet. And intention is what decides whether January feels like another page or a whole new chapter. Because intention is not about writing a long list of goals that you abandon by February. It's about choosing direction, even when the steps are not clear yet. It's about asking better questions, not just what do I want to achieve, but who do I want to become while achieving it? How do I want my days to feel? Questions like what drains me, what nourishes me, what am I done pretending is fine? And this is where a lot of people get stuck because clarity requires honesty. And honesty requires discomfort. Honesty with yourself. It means admitting that some relationship no longer fit. Not because they're bad, but because they're misaligned. And let's be clear, choosing yourself is not the same as cutting people off for vibes. This thing of saying, I'm leaving so and so in 2025, Growth is not dramatic. It's not about storming out of burning bridges. It's not, just cutting ties for just because. It's about quietly noticing who shows up for you and who only shows up for the version of you that's convenient. You don't need to announce boundaries. You don't need to justify your distance. You don't need to villainize anyone to validate your choice. Sometimes growth simply looks like choosing what chooses you, choosing conversations that feel mutual, choosing environments that don't require you to shrink, and choosing people who are curious about who you are becoming and not threatened by it. And yes, that may mean some connections naturally soften, some fade, but some stay and some evolve. And that's not loss, that's alignment. And the same goes for habits, routines, new identities. You will learn new things and outgrow some. You don't have to wait until January. Oh yes, it's 2026, January 1st. I'm going to start losing weight. I'm going to start eating healthy. No. That's one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. I'll start next month. I'll start after the holidays. I'll start when things calm down. Life rarely comes down. There'll always be another reason to wait, another obligation, another distraction. So starting now doesn't mean going all in overnight. It means taking one honest step, drinking more water, going for the walk, opening the notebook, making the appointment, saying no when you mean no, and saying yes when fear is the only thing stopping you. Small steps compound like money, compound interest, So be intentional with your energy. Notice where it leaks. Notice where you feel heavy after interactions. Notice what you keep avoiding, because avoidance is information. And working on yourself is not about fixing something that's broken. It's about meeting yourself where you are and asking, how can I support you better? It's rest when you need rest, structure when you need grounding, challenge when you're ready to expand. Self-work isn't aesthetic. I know these days we want everything to look nice, but it's not always pretty or shareable. Sometimes it looks like unlearning patterns, sitting with emotions instead of numbing them, admitting you don't have all the answers yet. And that's okay. You are not late to your life. You are right on time for this version of you. As this year closes, don't rush to summarize it as good or bad. Instead, ask yourself, what did it teach me? What did it reveal? What am I no longer available for? And then gently decide what comes forward. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, beloved. Take care.